I was just 7 years old. It was a quiet summer afternoon. Suddenly, a loud crash came from the kitchen. My mother screamed. I jumped, spilling tea on my shirt, and looked up at my father, David. His expression changed instantly, calm to alert, loving to fierce. He didn't say a word. He just stood up and rushed toward the kitchen. "He took your watch," she gasped. "The one your father gave you." Without a second's hesitation, he bolted out the door. I stood at the edge of the kitchen, trembling, as I saw my father disappear into the distance. The man with the thick mustache, dressed in tattered clothes, was running fast, but my father, he ran faster. Suddenly, the thief stumbled over a stone and fell hard, but before he could get up again, my father leapt on him, knocking him to the ground. What happened next is something I still remember, like a movie scene, etched into my soul. The thief twisted and turned, trying to escape, but my father pinned him down. The thief cried out, Okay, stop. I'll give it back." I could barely breathe. I saw the man reach into his pocket and hand over the old wristwatch. My father grabbed it, still holding him down. "You dare enter my home and scare my family?" My father growled. "Do you even know what you've done?" "I'm sorry," the man whimpered. "I didn't mean to. I needed help." There was something strange in his voice. Not the usual arrogance of a thief, but desperation. I watched as my father's expression softened, just a little. The man's eyes filled with tears. "I haven't eaten in 3 days. My daughter is sick. I've tried everything. I wasn't always like this." There was a silence, heavy and raw. My father slowly got off the man, but kept his eyes locked on him. "Get up," he said firmly. The man obeyed, weak and ashamed. "It's okay," Dad said. "He won't harm anyone now." And then, the most unexpected thing happened. My father sat the man down at our table and gave him water. Then he turned to my mother. "Emma," he said gently, "please give him something to eat." The rest of the conversation unfolded slowly. The man's name was Tom. He had once worked as a driver, but lost his job in an accident. His wife had passed away a year ago, and he was left with a 6-year-old daughter who had fallen ill. He had tried to get help, to find work, but everywhere he turned, he was met with closed doors. My father listened silently. Then he said something I never expected. "You made a mistake, a big one, but I believe you can make it right." Tom looked up, confused. "You'll work for me," my father said, "and you'll earn your food, but you'll never steal again from anyone." Tears rolled down Tom's face. He fell to his knees and clasped my father's hands. Thank you. I stood there, watching the stranger, once a threat, now crying like a child in front of my father. Tom, the thief, never returned to the streets again. The following day, Tom returned. Not to steal, but to sweep the driveway. He showed up at M sharp, as promised, his head bowed, his clothes cleaner than before, his hands rough, but ready to work. My father stood at the door and nodded with pride. No words, just understanding. That summer, Tom became a regular face at our house. He cleaned the garden, fixed broken pipes, helped Mom carry groceries, and even played catch with me in the yard. He never spoke much, but when he smiled, there was something in it, a kind of peace I couldn't understand at the time, but would never forget. Tom's daughter, Lily, eventually came to visit. She was about my age, small and quiet, with wide, curious eyes. She would sit beside me under the neem tree while her father worked. One day, she asked me, "Is your father a superhero?" I smiled. "He's more than that, he's my dad." Tom now had a small job at a garage my father helped him connect with. Lily had started going to school again. Their home was still a one-room rental, but it was clean and full of hope. Every Sunday, they came to our house for dinner, not as guests, but as family. One evening, something unexpected happened. Tom arrived with a box. He handed it to my father and said, "For you." Inside was an old wooden frame, a hand-drawn sketch of my father, standing tall, strong, fists clenched, with a young boy hiding behind him. Below it were the words, "To the man who fought me, fed me, forgave me." Tom. My father stared at it for a long time. I watched his eyes glisten. He reached out and hugged Tom. I told it at school speeches, at youth seminars, at coffee shops with friends who thought bravery meant shouting loud or looking strong. I told them what I had seen. The real kind of bravery. And then, one winter morning, got a call. My father had passed away peacefully in his sleep. I returned home, heart heavy, and sure how I'd walk into the house without hearing his voice. When I arrived, the house was full, not with sadness, but with love. Neighbors, friends, even people I didn't recognize. They told stories of how Dad had helped them quietly over the years, paid someone's school fees, fixed someone's roof, bought medicine for a sick child. And then I saw Tom, older now, his back a little bent. At the funeral, it was Tom who spoke first. There wasn't a single dry eye. When it was my turn to speak, I walked to the podium and looked around. I was 7 when I watched my father chase down a thief, I said. But what I didn't understand then was that the chase wasn't the heroic part. What came after was. I looked at Tom, then at the sketch he had given my father, now placed beside the casket. My father didn't just save us that day, he saved a man, a child, a future. In loving memory of all the unsung heroes we call Dad.